Hello, everyone. Just welcome another episode podcast. I am again making sure I'm going to be sharing my screen, so I want to make sure it's working okay. Testing it right now. Perfect. I can hear me. Okay. All right. I am. Hope everybody had a great Diwali break and ready to finish the year strong. So today is a topic very near and dear to my heart. I know a lot of you, or a few of you at least, know I've got a bunch of degrees. Did my chemical engineering and then moved on to do my MIS master's and then did my MBA. So I've done my fair share of school to say the least. But as I started this entrepreneurship ventures and the latest thing I'm doing with the Mentor Lab, I've learned a lot that were not taught in school, or college. So I'm trying to kick this off with just talking through what are the things that they don't teach you in college. We call it school here in the U.S., but in college, and there are some key takeaways that I have that I want to cover, and then at the end of it, I want to make an announcement that I've been talking about. So I want to talk to you guys about it. So let's see how this works. I'm going to try to share my screen now, and I want to see how that shows up. And I didn't click this. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm going to give it a second to reflect on my computer, my second computer I have here. So I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm sharing. Okay, it is refreshing right now. Let's see. That does not look good. Okay, I'm gonna change the settings. 1 second, guys. Let me see. I'm gonna remove this from the screen. Let me see. Sorry, I am excited about this. I had a fun presentation for you guys, so I'm gonna try to see. Select a window. Okay. I think that's looking better. Perfect. Okay. That's awesome. That's exactly what. Okay. Perfect. All right. Now we can get started. Now that you guys can see my screen. So, um, what they don't teach you in business school or any high level schools, what they teach you don't teach you is one of the key things I want to talk about. Again, just to recap, I've done my business school. It was an amazing experience. I absolutely enjoyed it. The networking was great. The theory aspect of things were great, so it helped to get some frameworks in place. But I don't think it fully helped me to understand what it is to become an entrepreneur and how do I become successful, right? So those are the two key things that you guys are looking for from us. So I want to make sure we talk about it. So, um, I've run a few businesses. As I'm going through the process, one of the things I've learned is people don't buy the thing, they buy the story. So I'll give you a few examples because I always wanted to, as a new entrepreneur, you're so excited about your idea, your business, your product, your service, and that's your baby, right? You're like, oh man, this is what I'm selling, and people are gonna love it because it's great. I know it's great. So I went all in on selling the thing, whether it was a product, service, whatever idea it was, whether it was a online e-learning business, my cryo business, um, importing granite from India, all of that. I'm like, oh, uh, this is what people are buying. But really, what they're buying is what the problem that it solves, and they also buy the story behind it. So, for example, the cryo business, when I started making this transition, is when my business started getting profitable. So when I started it, I said, oh, you know what cryo does for you? It makes uh, it is the best in class cutting edge treatment that you can help you recover faster. And I went to a bunch of mumbo jumbo science jargon that people seem to be interested. So I thought, okay, they're feeling this, they're understanding this. But after a year of running the business, and I changed the approach because of the courses I was going through and the mental lab. And I said, you know what? People really don't care about science. They want to know what is in it for them. So along those perspective, if you think about it, they really wanted to either um, recover faster, deal with pain, right? That's the two reasons: either athlete or somebody come and deal with pain. So when I started telling stories of, hey, there's an arthritis person who came in and this is what happened to them. There's an athlete came in now, they can run a marathon faster than they've done before between the sessions, and they've done it for 3 weeks. Now that resonated with them. That's a cry, right? Then you go into a online e-learning. It could be a service. You have to understand what are they trying to get out of it, what is in it for them, and the stories behind it, right? So one of the things we learn as we go through the process is people buy on emotion and then they justify with logic. So what that means is you don't really as much as analytically you think you're an engineer, this is how I make decisions. But at the end of the day, you always make a purchasing decision based on an emotion. Oh, this makes me feel good, or I feel like when I do this, this is how I'm going to feel in the future. And then you justify making a decision saying, okay, I did it because this was a good deal. I saved money. If I bought it like a single, like 5 times, it would have cost me this much. So there's a lot of ways you just justify it. And neuroscience shows that people always buy with emotion and then they justify logic. So this was not really talked to me. You talk about the 4 P's of marketing. This is how you segment in and all that. But I think this is a basic human psychology that they don't buy the thing, but they buy the story. They buy what it does for them. They buy with emotion. And as long as you know that, I think all of you will become better at presenting your ideas on how it helps, or presenting a service or product to your customer, and helping them future pace. What that means is what will they do if they use this product or the service or your software in 6 months? What are they going to get? And that's how you get them to buy into your vision. So the next big thing is consistency beats talent every time. And I think this was a very hard for me to wrap my head around. What I mean by that is like, okay, if you do extremely well in school, you go to a best college. If you do extremely well in college, you're going to get this amazing job. And that's, so to me, if you're talented, you're going to be on top of your game. And that's how you move up in the corporate ladder, right? And again, it's beaten into us since you were kids. Go to school, study well, get a job, and you're going to be amazingly successful. So that's how success was defined. So for me to wrap my head around, okay, yes, I know I'm a smart person. So just because of that, I'm going to be very successful. And what you realize in entrepreneurs, most of the entrepreneurs are not prodigies. They're not wildly brilliant, but they're absolutely consistent in what they do on a daily basis. So if you say, hey, I'm going to be a digital marketer, I'm going to be doing, so what I'm recommending you do is do a Facebook Live to start with once a week. Just tell people what you do. Imagine if you do that once a week in 52 weeks, and now you're 52 videos collection. I mean, what I'm doing right now is also part of my portfolio I'm developing, right? So if you can continue to do this on a regular basis, you might start once a week, then you might go to 2, 3 times. At the end of the year, you're gonna have so much content, and then you will be accepted as an authority in the field, right? And again, it might not take a year, it might take you a shorter time, but I'm just saying if you consistently do it, just imagine where you'll be a year from now. So that could be video, or let's say you don't like videos, you're going to be writing. So let's write something, a blog post once a week. Imagine how much content you will have in a year. Maybe those translate, you kind of combine all those blog posts and make it into a book or an article or a PDF or something that you can give for your opt-in. So that's one. And if you don't like either of this, you're good about podcasts, but you don't want to do video, you can do podcasts or write something. So, but do something regularly. And again, if every day is hard for you, do it once a week. If once a week is hard for you, start somewhere, once a month, but eventually get into the habit of being consistent with whatever you do. And if you're consistent and your talent, you will go a long way. But at the end of the day, if you nothing but consistent and you make sure you do something towards improving your business on a regular basis, you will absolutely be successful. And I want me to use me as a um, symbol for this, or if you can look at any top marketer, digital, any top business icon you're gonna follow, you will see they're very consistent in the way they approach their business. So just to wrap up that, make sure a lot of people think, oh, I don't have the talent, my idea is not big enough, I don't have enough experience. There's always somebody who can learn from you. Let's say you just finished your undergrad, you came through college, you have a story to tell, and you have something to give to the people who are coming behind you. Maybe they're in 10th grade, they're trying to figure out what to do with their life, and whatever you can tell them will help them. And then in 12th, they graduated right now, what kind of college do I go to, what are my chances? So all in sense, now you're 40 years old, now you can go and say, hey, these are 5 things I tried, they didn't work, but this one thing worked. Or at least tell them these 5 things don't work. So there's a lot of, at the end of the day, you have a lot more knowledge than you give credit to yourself. But consistently get that message out, consistently do something towards improving your business. So if you do that, before you know, your business will be much ahead of where you are right now versus you just talking about it, just thinking about it, right? So that's really one of the main things that's helped me move my business forward. And this is also near and dear. I mean, everything I've put together is almost, I smile at it because these are things that are aha moments I've gotten in the last 2 to 3 years that I think it's important for you to realize. And the faster you do this, the better for you. I look at people and I'm like, oh my God, look at this guy. He's 18 years old and overnight he's successful. Or look at this guy. He just did this one funnel and now he's successful. Or look at this person. They just have this one product and they're like amazing. They're millionaires. What you don't realize is the 99 times they failed before that and the years of failure and hard work it took to get there. Yes, that last product, the last process, the last service that they sold might have made them the millions, but there were a lot of things that they worked through to get them there. For example, I've failed in a few businesses, but I've gotten successful. But I won't change anything because every failure taught me something and helped me propel forward. I was able to pivot from that and move forward to the next thing where I got better at it. So if you are thinking that you're looking at peers and like, man, they got it right the first time, it very, very, very rarely happens. Most people have gone through a few iterations of the idea or businesses before they hit on something that made them an overnight success. So just remember that it will take consistency, it will take time, it will take a few failures, but you will get there. But just remember that and don't let failures or get you down. It's basically a way for you to learn what not to do and move forward, and you will get it right eventually. But you just have to keep moving forward. Again, if you have the passion, the energy, and the drive, and you are willing to make a difference in the world with your vision, you will absolutely do that. Okay. So this is also important lesson I've learned. As an entrepreneur, you have to wear a lot of hats, and you feel like, oh man, I don't want to niche down to one area. I know these 5 skills. I can help people with these 5 skills. What's get lost? I've done this too, so it's not a. These are lessons that I've learned, so I want to make sure you guys don't repeat it. So there are 5 things that you do somewhat well, but one thing you do extremely well. For example, in my case, I think I do a great job of finding opportunities and for putting strategies and frameworks around it and That's what I do really well. There's some things I don't do well. I can create funnels, I can write copy, but some of them I won't be the best at it, right? So if I'm going to teach you, I'm going to teach you more around the things that I'm good at. I'm doing extraordinary well, and that's what people are willing to pay me for. So I was helping another startup in Chennai, and um, basically I'm helping them rethink the whole business model, right? That excites me when people can think that way rather than saying, okay, there's 1,000 other businesses, they're all making money, so I'm going to do the same thing. But what happens when another person, and it's all based on pricing, and I say, okay, you guys can do that. So we're going through the process, but the bottom line is that's what I do really well, and that's what I'm going to hone in on is helping people find opportunities to make their business grow rapidly and helping them understand that you don't stand a chance if you're just competing on price, right? So you might be a great photographer, you might be a great copywriter or a digital marketer, but until you kind of hone in on the one thing that you do extremely well, you're really not going to have a very successful business because what you'll end up doing is sharing your energy in so many different ways that you really don't resonate with your audience, so they don't know what you do really well. So not saying you can't do the other things, but do something really well and be known for it, and then after that you can you have to go all in on that. Once you mastered it and people know you for that, if you want to switch another lane, you can do that. But if you try to start with 4 or 5, I can guarantee you that is a recipe for failure. So just learn from me and don't make that mistake. Business is built on relationship. So a few of you introverts, I have a few friends who are, and they're like, oh man, I do not like networking. I don't like to meet people. I just want to sit in my room or sit in my cube and sit in my office and just code, do whatever. Some of them, it's okay because you have a job, but being in business is going to be very hard without a support structure or without building relationship. The one a networking meeting you go to, meeting one person, it might not translate directly to a sale or a purchase. But what will happen is, like it's happened to me, it's happened to a lot of my friends, is that same conversation you had 2 weeks later, the person will reach out to you and say, hey, you remember we talked about it? And I've seen all of your videos now. I really think we should connect, right? Or they might have a conversation with another person and they may bring up your name. So you can never underestimate the power of networking. So again, just like being consistent with what you do, networking and meeting people and building the soft skills about making those connections and how to make connections, follow up, that is critical for you to success. And again, everything I'm telling you right now will help you leapfrog years of knowledge and pain to get there. So if you're not good at it, it's a good thing that you know that you're not good at it, right? Now learn framework structures, and if you're an introvert, learn ways you can, come out of the shell at least when you're in the networking meeting. And I know a lot of introverts who are very good about having a different game face when they are networking, and then they go back to being who they are, right? So these are things you need if you want to grow, be successful. Absolutely work on building relationship and bonds and networking, and you will absolutely see your opportunities as a business skyrocket. So the next one, if you want to become one of the best, you have to find your community. So this is also has been a great learning experience for me. Being an entrepreneur is a lonely world, right? So you have a support structure. You have to have a community. You can learn by yourself. You can learn turn YouTube on and learn almost anything you want at this point. There's so many free courses in there, but the level of knowledge, the speed of your business growth will absolutely be changed if you have a network of like-minded people who think like you, and you see them, you get the energy to push yourself forward, right? Because even our own families, our kids, parents don't really understand all the ins and outs of entrepreneurship. It's a roller coaster ride, right? So you sometimes are riding high, and the next day a client leaves, you're in the lowest of low. Not And if you don't have the support structure to kind of push you forward, saying, hey, this was expected, that's why you need a pipeline of clients to be in there, this is what I am doing with my business, and having that support structure absolutely will propel you forward faster. And people who you've seen like consistently out perform the rest of the peer groups have found the community. They are they are for having a community chasing the same dreams as you, and it will raise your standards and help you move faster. So just to recap, people don't buy things, they buy the story. And then consistency always beats talent. Nobody gets it right the first time, so don't give up hope. Keep trying, keep pivot, keep moving forward, and focus on one thing and build relationship, build your network. And if you want to become one of the best, absolutely find a community that supports you so you can move forward. All right, this is, I'm thinking in India it's the 31st, so you have 2 months left for 2019, and it's going to be 2020.